Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing an update on how the 14-foot Johnboat to bass boat build is going. So as many of you know, around 6 months ago I did a kind of overview video of how I built this, what all is in it, but I was doing it on just a GoPro. It wasn't the greatest video and I kind of want to do a better one to kind of explain what has happened since then and what I've added on this year, along with a little better explanation of how this came to be. So I'm gonna jump right into it, starting off with the new additions to the boat. All right, so the first big change I wanna talk about is the addition of LiveScope to the boat. So I have a bass boat, a Nitro 640, so it's a 16.5-foot bass boat, and I had LiveScope on it for the last 3 years, I believe, 2 or 3 years. And it's an absolute game changer, but I always just had it running off of a trolling motor. So I had to attach the transducer, attach the trolling motor, controlled with my foot. But that means I couldn't bring it onto this boat. I just had to fish blind on this boat. This year, I wanted to have a little bit more versatility, and I really wanted to use LiveScope on some of these ponds and lakes that I couldn't get the big boat out on. So what I did is I got the Summit shuttle. So this is a 3D printed like composite plastic shuttle for the LiveScope, and I love this thing. It works great. It's super durable, haven't had any issues yet, and it is mounted to the shuttle docking system. So basically there's 2 latches on either side, and I can just unlatch them, and now the whole entire LiveScope can just be transferred to a different boat. And I have the same thing on the bass boat. It works great. This thing is super secure, and it's super easy just to pick it up, put it on the other boat, switch it around. But granted, that means I have to run this on an external battery. So on the inside here, I have a 20 amp hour lithium battery from Amped Outdoors, I believe. And you just a little charging port right here that I plug it into when I need it. It comes with a power button for the LiveScope unit and the black box itself. And then the second power button powers these USB ports right here, so I could charge my phone or run a GoPro off of those if I needed to. So this is one of my favorite updates currently to the boat. I'm really glad that I put it on here. It's changed the way I have looked and broken down these smaller lakes and ponds. I'm able to use it to find water temp, drop-offs, actual fish. As you saw in my last video, I was using it to catch fish with a swim bait, and it works great. And now you may be wondering, how do I keep the transducer pole on the boat without having it attached to a trolling motor? Well, I was looking around, and Summit sells one of these systems right here that goes off the side of the boat. It's a little arm, but it's $150. And I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna spend $150 to buy just this, let alone the arm itself. So I went on Amazon, did some researching, and this right here is not a normal LiveScope pole mount system at all. It's not even made for LiveScope whatsoever. This right here is made to mount your bicycle to a workbench. So it has 4 screws, this little arm that goes in and out, and then this clamp right here that clamps your bike to like your workbench. And I'm like, you know what? That looks exactly like every single one of these LiveScope pole mounts that I've ever seen, but it's $35. $150 or $35, I chose the $35. So I got 2 of these, one for this boat, one for the big boat, and it works great. So basically, this pole comes with the ice fishing kit for the LiveScope. It's the cheap little plastic pole, but it has this little thing here where the ice fishing bracket that goes over top of the hole is supposed to sit in between. Well, lucky enough, because it's raised a little bit, it fits in here perfect, and when you clamp it down, it just sits right there. It can't move down, it can't move up, but I'm still able to turn it like this. The next thing you're probably asking is, how easy is it to get the pole into the water? Well, all you have to do is just open this clamp right here, you pull it out, and then it just lowers down like this into the water, and then you reclamp it, and that's it. So now I'll be sitting here running the trolling motor. I'm able to just turn it, It stays where you want it to. You can adjust the tightness of how tight you want this clamp. If it's a really, like, if you're going pretty quick or it's a windy day and the water's moving this thing around, just tighten it a little bit, loosen it however you want. You can have it as high or as low as you want with the additional lengths right here that screw on. So overall, this is one of my favorite additions to this boat, and I will definitely be using this at many different lakes throughout the year. Moving on to the next addition to this boat this year. All right, so the next thing that I added to this boat quite recently were these gas pistons that keep open the hatches. So right here, I put in one in every compartment except for the one that you guys are sitting on, because that one's just to access wires. It doesn't need one of these. But I noticed whenever I was fishing and I need to hold open a compartment, I'm kind of holding it open with my elbow, grabbing one thing, trying to use the other hand. It just was a whole big hassle that I didn't want to have to deal with anymore. So these, off of Amazon, they're like 10 bucks for a pack of 2. I have 6 of them, so I spent 30 bucks, right? And it works great. So this keeps it open. I can close it. It's easier to open, and it just stays open. I can get rods in and out. I have it in every single compartment, one here in the back, in each one of the hatches, and overall, one of the best additions to this boat. I can guarantee you, if you are on the edge of doing this with your boat, you have to do it. It's a game changer. It's so much easier just to grab stuff in and out. You don't have to deal with holding open hatches and all sorts of crap like that. So I would recommend to do that if you are in the boat building realm. All right, moving on to the best and last addition to the Johnboat. This is a Minn Kota Vantage 36 volt trolling motor. So this is a trolling motor that people put on like walleye boats up here in the north, and they use it for back trolling. So when they're on a river, they'll back troll up to their spot and then drift back down and stuff like that. And this thing is made for like 20 to 25 foot big walleye boats. So I'm like, well, I bet if they can push a walleye boat, it'll push this 14-foot John boat pretty dang good. So I found one on Marketplace for $500, which is an absolute steal. You can't buy an electric outboard for under, I think it's like $2,000 at this point. I know the Mercury Avatar or whatever that is like way overpriced. But at the same time, that's the beginning of electric outboards. It's going to be more expensive. But this has been around for a long time, and it's not technically considered an outboard because it just is a trolling motor. But 36 volts, and I wanted to have something, either a nice 4-stroke or a electric motor, because I don't want to get this thing all dirty with 2-stroke, and I just didn't want to deal with all the maintenance that comes with a 2-stroke motor. I couldn't find a 4-stroke 15 horse that was anywhere near a good price, and if I was going to get a lower horsepower, I might as well get an electric. So $500 for this electric motor. And now I wanted to keep weight down because this is a John boat. I'm taking it out to small lakes. I can't really have this thing being weighed down by 3 deep cycle batteries, 4 including the trolling motor. That just wasn't an option for me. So what I did is I went with the cheaper alternative than like a name brand lithium. I went with these Power Queen 100 amp hour trolling motor batteries. So I have 3 of them set up in here, and they're all running in series to make 36 volts to power this thing. Now I did the calculations. This has a max amp draw of 50 amps. And in total, I think these have like 7 kilowatt hours, which is insane for battery life. Like most electric motors can only run full speed for like an hour. If you do the calculations, the 50 amps draw over 7.5 kilowatt hours. You can run this at full throttle for 6.5 hours on like nonstop, which is completely unheard of when you're talking about electric motors. And it's very true. I have taken this thing out 5 times. I haven't charged it all throughout like these 5 times. It wasn't dead. Still probably had half the battery life left, and I just plugged it back in and it charged overnight. So I'm charging these with a Gen 3 3-bank NOCO charger. I think it was like $200. In total, the battery was right around $700 for all 3 of them. It was a pack deal. So overall for this, I'm right around $1,500 in the hole, which is half the price of a brand new gas motor and probably a fraction of the price of a electric outboard motor. and it runs amazing. I've never had any issues. It pushes the boat right around 6 miles an hour, which for a 36 volt is really good. I know that the comparable 48 volt outboards only run around 6 to 6.5, and they're running on an extra battery. So overall, one of the best purchases. Really easy to zip around all these lakes. I don't need anything faster. And just so I could have more efficiency and a better power delivery, I put on a Kippoa prop. So it's a 3-blade instead of a 2-blade. And I gained about half a mile an hour, and it's so much smoother through the I guess RPMs. I guess it goes through weeds a lot easier. Overall, I really like this motor, and it was a great addition to the boat. Well guys, that wraps up all of the modifications I have done to this boat in the last 6 months. If you want to watch the other video that goes through what I did to this boat from start to finish, goes through all the compartments, but just a rough kind of overview. There's 2 big compartments in the front, 1 deep storage way up front. I have a rod locker, and then 2 storage compartments in the back for the batteries, and switch panel, lights in all of the compartments. It's overall one of my favorite boats. It probably is my favorite right now. I've used it on all these little lakes, all the ones where it's like, I could bring out the 16-foot bass boat, but this thing's able to get around up into those shallows. Right now with the spawn, it's amazing to get up in the shallows. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the walkthrough of this boat. I'm gonna put in some footage of me fishing, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. There we go, got one. Right there. Little guy. Real little guy. But it's a fish. First fish. We're not skunked. Let's go. We finally got one on the old wacky rig. There we go, little dink. Oh well, we got one though. So skunk's out of the boat. I think we're gonna maybe catch the nice one today, hopefully. I mean, I like this weather. It's calm, these fish are biting. This little guy bit a bait, so let's get him back and go catch another one. Oh. Oh, we're getting bit. That sucks. Oh, there we go. That was cool. We have one slightly bigger. Might have to switch up the old bait, but there's number 2. Slightly bigger, still 12 inches, so doesn't really matter, but there we go. Let's go hunt for a PB. I'm putting on a bigger bait. Oh, I got a bite. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go. Jeez. You know, I'm really just getting after these monsters today, huh? How are they getting smaller? How are they getting smaller, huh? Look at that. Even smaller dink than before. What the heck? I can't figure out any big ones. Got one. Immediately. First cast. First cast. That's awesome. No way. First cast. Awesome. Biggest one of the day too. I mean, it's not saying much, but it's not a bad fish. It's not a bad one. Probably like a 14-incher. Let's go. On the top water. That's awesome. Sweet. Well, I think we found ourselves a little pattern, maybe, possibly. I'm not saying we have one yet, but first cast. Gotta mean something. Let's get this bad boy back. Oh, the old battery's dead. Golly. Of course, battery just died on the GoPro. There we go. Took me long enough. Dink Fest is what we are on today. GoPro just died, but there we go. Or at least we're catching a few, right? At least we're catching them, but they do be small. Let's get them back. All right, guys, well, kind of wraps up our day of fishing. Day after school, started off real cloudy, real after rainstormy kind of vibes, and then now it's sunny, birds are chirping. I fished literally every single bank on this lake, fishing every single possible lure. I caught like a few dinks, and that's about it. So maybe the sister or brother lake to this one is like better. I hope it is, but I guess, I mean, I fished this in the past and it was good then, but it's not living up to the glory right now. I guess maybe I have more luck in the fall. So we'll be coming back to this lake, but for now we're gonna try new stuff. I don't think this is the spawning lake. I think this one gets overgrown real quick. So I'll see you guys probably in part 2 of this video, or maybe this is the end, but either way I'll see you guys in the next one.
Soon as I go and I step